here I am for a brief recap on the adventures of Odysseus so far, and then I shall read the next chapter, which is quite a short chapter, but definitely worth listening to, so stick around. So in case some of you are a little bit lost as to where we are with the story so far, obviously you can watch all the chapters so far. They're all on the Roundhouse Storytellers YouTube channel. The first chapter was the prologue, if you remember, and some of you might have done some work on that recently. The prologue was all about these three goddesses who made Paris, a mortal, choose between them, and he chose one and it caused the Trojan War. And Odysseus, our hero from the story, there he is, yes, that's him. He was involved in this because he was the king of Ithaca, and all the Greek islands came together against Troy to fight to get Helen back, who Paris had stolen from one of the Greek kings. And then the story picks up in chapter 1 on the voyage home for Odysseus. And Odysseus gets washed up on a beach as a stranger. No one knows who he is. And he starts telling his story to the king of that island. And his story starts right at the very beginning, where he pretended to be mad, so he could avoid going to the war in the first place, but they saw through that, so he ended up going. And he just wants to get home to his wife and his son now, who are waiting patiently for him. His wife has not given up hope, even though it's 18 years now since he was last seen. So Odysseus is telling his story, and they're sailing away, and they encounter Polyphemus the Cyclops on his island, who eats some of his men, but then Odysseus and his crew escape. But they have angered the god Poseidon by blinding Polyphemus, who just happens to be Poseidon's son. So Poseidon, the sea god, sends really, really big waves and storms and blows them off course, and eventually they end up on an island. And we go to the chapter 3, which is the Sack of Winds, where they meet up with a king who has all the winds in a bag. And he says, I'll let you have some of this wind and you can put it into your sails, but keep the rest and then you can let it loose afterwards. But one of his crew lets out the bag of wind, and they end up with a big storm on their hands again. And Poseidon is at work again. They get washed up on shore of another beach. This time the island is inhabited by Circe, who is a sorceress. Initially she turns all of Odysseus' men to pigs, so he's not having much luck here. Odysseus gets some help from Hermes, another god, the winged messenger god, who helps him overcome Circe and befriend her, and then she helps them get their boat ready to sail, and she offers some advice on how to overcome Poseidon, telling Odysseus and his crew to sail north and north again to the land of the dead, where they will find the blind prophet Tiresias. And when they arrive in the land of the dead, there's chapter 5, Land of the Dead, the last chapter I read, they meet up with dead spirits in the land of the dead. They make a blood sacrifice, and Tiresias tells Odysseus of all the things he must do to try and stop Poseidon from killing him and the rest of his crew. And he did say that there were lots of hardships ahead. And then the last thing was that Odysseus saw his mother in the land of the dead, and that he didn't realise that his mum had died. So they're leaving the land of the dead now, and we're in chapter 6, the Song of the Spheres. The smell of the dead clings to the nostrils. Only when we had passed out of the mist, when there was wind and tide, day and night, did we shake off the chill. We returned to Circe's island. Once my men had eaten and were asleep, I told Circe what I had learned. She shook her head in wonder. Mortals are meant to have only one journey to that place. You alone will have 2. Listen well to what I have to tell you. There are several trials you must undergo before you find the island of the sun god Hyperion. Circe told me of the island of the Sirens and their enchantments, and how I might evade them. She told me also of straits our ship would approach. The current will carry you into them. You cannot prevent it. To your left you will see rising sheer from the sea a column of rock. the sides so smooth it is as if they had been polished, the summit shrouded in thick smoke. In the column there is a cave. The cave is the lair of an ancient snake-headed, flame-skinned, six-headed dragon. Her name is Scylla the Devourer. As you pass through these straits, she will lunge and eat 6 of your crew. Better this than to sail too far to starboard. To your right you will see an island, broad and flat like the back of a crab. One fig tree dips its branches into the ocean beneath. Under the fig tree there is a whirlpool. Her name is Charybdis the Swallower. If your ship were to be caught in the grip of her current, not even great Zeus could save you. This is why you must stay as close as you can to the bottom of the dragon's tower. As soon as she had finished, I asked, "How can I kill this Scylla?" Circe shook her head. Then she pressed her fingers against my lips. "This is no place for acts of daring folly. There is a price, a toll, which must be paid for safe passage through these straits. Either you lose 6 lives, or all of you die." What choice? The next morning, when dawn took her golden throne, we said our last farewells to Circe. She gave us a wind to fill our sail. When the wind failed us, when the sail sagged, we knew we were approaching the enchanted region of the Sirens. The Sirens sing a song so beautiful that any mortal who hears it forgets everything except the desire to hear more. Many a ship has wrecked itself against the rocks that lurk beneath the sea around their island. But they are the daughters of a muse. To pass so close to such beauty without experiencing it was unthinkable. I had to hear that song. I ordered my men to tie me to the mast and block their ears with wax. They were to ignore my instructions while I was under the siren's spell. The shimmering song began. I begged my crew to change their course. I threatened them and cursed them, but they were deaf to all my pleas. As they pulled at the oars, they could see 2 white hills on the island. When we were closer still, they saw the hills were heaps of bones, bleached white by the sun. On top of each heap, they could see a creature with the body of a vulture and the head of a woman, singing. So these are the monsters that are singing. The Sirens and the bones are all those dead people that have crashed on their rocks that they've been able to eat afterwards. Yuck. As for me, I could see nothing. I could only hear a song so searingly beautiful I nearly lost all reason. In the song I heard so many sounds: the beating of a swan's wing, the hiss and drag of the sea on shingle, the moan of the wind as it blows across the broad face of the world, the rhythm of the passage of the seasons, my wife singing, and all the sounds I heard were in harmony. For those few moments I heard the song of the spheres. Ever since then all music has been clatter to me, the sound of a shield as it falls on a cobblestone floor. So Odysseus wanted to hear the song. He's managed to hear the song without being drawn into it. His crew have managed to get through it, and just as well, because they would have been absolute dead meat, quite literally, if they'd have got too close to the Sirens. Tune in for more. I hope the recap at the start was useful. Tune in for the next chapter very soon. Until then, stay safe, take care, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.